Eunju Park McNally is an Ulsan native who has lived in Canada for the past 13 years, where she has and continues to raise a beautiful family. Almost 3 years ago, she began to create art as a form of self-healing after a tragedy struck her family and left her in a difficult space mentally. Eunju bravely details the circumstances which led to depression and the incredible climb back to normalcy. I briefly summarized this episode and would love to beautifully wrap it up into a nice little package before our sweet intro music drops, but I can't. It might be my lack of ability to articulate my feelings surrounding the contents of this episode, which includes suicide, losing a parent, addiction, depression, overcoming adversity, and the importance of community. Truthfully, I'd rather have you, the listener, consume this content and draw your own conclusions. All people involved in the recording of this would love it if this particular episode sparked a conversation between friends and family members about some difficult topics that aren't always fun to engage in. Enjoy this episode number 100 for TKL, and it was, in my opinion, one of our best yet. Thank you, Juju, for sharing your story and continuing to spread your beautiful art and positive messages.
You are now tuned into This Korean Life with your hosts, Brian and Nate.
Right, ready to go?
Yeah.
Nate?
Yeah.
Number 100. We should sing a song or something. Anyways, let's begin. Let's start here. All right, welcome to another episode of This Korean Life, number 100, featuring Park Eunju. This is, we saved number 100 for someone special. We've been thinking for a long time, and the timing was right, so we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
We've put, I remember seeing your stuff very early when you first started producing K-art, and we threw a couple of ads out for you.
Dongchim
The Dongchim one?
Yeah.
Have you made any funny ones?
No, not really, but like, Dongchim is a good idea.
Yeah, sure. That would be, I think that'd be funny, man.
Yeah.
But anyways, welcome. How's your vacation back so far? Everything good?
It's amazing. Like, I'm really enjoying it, but it's already the end.
Time to go.
Yeah.
You
Like,
guys are leaving Monday.
Goes fast.
yeah, Monday we
Seoul.
go to Seoul and we leave on Tuesday.
Jeez.
I know.
Man, AJ sent a message just the other day, like, yeah, this is the last weekend. We all got to go out, and it's like, oh, we went to that soccer game. Just like it felt like yesterday. Yeah. But man,
Glad he's leaving. I haven't been out this much in years.
I think everyone's got that. But it's been what, 5 years since you've been back?
Yeah, 5 years.
What big changes have you noticed? Anything?
Everything's changed, and the biggest thing I've noticed is every other store is a coffee shop.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but I was talking with someone about it the other day. When did that change?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I want to say 10 years ago it became like coffee, but
Not this many.
5 years ago is not. That's not. They started closing. Like it peaked 3 years ago before Corona, and then Corona, lots of them started closing because there's just they couldn't have people inside, and like it kind of peaked and went down. But I mean, Starbucks is still popping up all over, but lots of the smaller ones have been closing.
I still see a ton of coffee
Oh, there is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just can't believe if it was really 5 years ago that there wasn't that many. Wow.
And the range of coffee shops too is you got like the little countryside ones. You got 700 different chain restaurants, and Tim Hortons is coming. Never mind.
Really?
They signed.
It's in Seoul, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's in Seoul.
I don't know if it's the coffee shops or the coffee culture that's just bonkers now. Like every one of my kids comes with a $4 frickin' coffee to class in the morning. I'm like, where? You guys didn't start working. Like, you never used to bring these. So what happened? And it's not Monsters. It's not Red Bulls. It's
Coffee.
Sold their Bitcoin.
and not even coffee. It's those latte macchiato, macchiato, whatever's. And
It's the culture now.
the sitting in the coffee shop studying for 4 hours with one cup. And I'm like, well, that's why they cost $8.
Yeah, man.
and like I go to the park between 6 and 6:30. That Starbucks used to open at like 8 or 9. I don't know. And then the lady just starts coming earlier and earlier. She's there at 6 o'clock now. And there's a drive-through Starbucks less than a kilometer away. But man, these guys, you might have to make a U-turn or something. But these guys come 6, 6:15, 6:30, park their cars, go in, get their coffee. It's hardcore. It's serious.
When I run at home in the morning, go 5 in the morning, there's a lineup out. Like Tim Hortons has a line of cars waiting, people waiting.
But that's been forever, right? I mean, that was I just can't believe in Korea, like guys we always said, like there's no breakfast. And then McDonald's introduced McMorning.
Yeah.
Was a huge transition to convince Koreans they could eat McMuffins, or I think even a Big Mac's available in the morning, but that you could eat this stuff for breakfast. And then it was like, well, if you want a coffee, that's because it was only instant coffee here.
Yeah.
Nobody made coffee in their house. The what are those things called? Those
the
pods
capsule
or whatever.
ones, yeah.
Capsule thing became popular.
Keurig.
But I think like guys wake up and maybe they don't have time, or their wife might make it for them or something, but it's easier just to go by McDonald's and get a coffee.
Sure.
But now Starbucks is the king of the morning. I mean, they run the show. And Tucson Place doesn't open until 10.
I don't understand that. What? How long you will it? Like, imagine a franchise comes to like Tim Hortons. Nate, would you wait in line for? I know you like cinnamon donuts. Would you wait in line for cinnamon donuts?
No, I don't
Tim
wait in line
Hortons?
for anything. If there's a line, it's not for me.
Did you see the Five Guys last weekend?
Five Guys came
There's-
too?
Five Guys is open in Seoul.
So there's a 5-hour line.
Hold on. Before that, In-N-Out had a pop-up store a month ago. Do you know In-N-Out?
Yeah.
In-N-Out had a pop-up store, whatever, and it was the same thing. Like they're testing the ground. They have to have a what do you call it? Like a pop-up store every 2 years to keep their patents. And they want to keep their patents so that the Korean restaurants aren't all copying them. They already copied them. They're 5 years behind. They already copied it, right? I remember going to someone's and going, well, this is like In-N-Out. The packaging is the same. The way they put it, it's not McDonald's style. It's like In-N-Out.
Up and down.
And so that In-N-Out one was the same thing. Like guys lined up for hours. And it was just one day they had 500 burgers or something, and that was it. And the guys lined up for, even you can't get your burger for 3 hours, they stand in line. And then these guys, Five Guys, say they're opening.
Oh, hold on, yeah. So they opened. There's a 5-hour line in the highlight of the day. First of all, pretty sure the burger set was $40.
Right? It said double the original cost, and I was like,
Yeah. So and some idiot paid $100 for the burger set on Dungan Market on the secondhand used market.
wasn't it 200 for 2 cheeseburger sets?
Oh, I didn't see that. I saw $100.
And they put
Korea
the
Herald,
ad on it, and the netizens were crushing this guy. And I said, what about the dummy who bought it?
Exactly.
What about the guy who bought it? I mean, someone's paying for it. Good for that guy. He's an entrepreneur. Good for him.
And I don't want to shit on BTS fans, and I know you're a big BTS fan, but I'm pretty sure too people were selling the BTS
McDonald's bags.
the McDonald's bags. It's garbage. They're literally shipping garbage like oil stained BTS McNugget package, $40. Like, give me 2. You know?
They're powerful.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. And that was even for me, that was kind of a wake up call. Like these people are loved all over the world, man. That was wild. Can you imagine exporting garbage? Like you could just go to McDonald's and like steal a handful of like fry bags and just start shipping them all over the world. I got a new business. Oh man.
So they're a significant part of your story.
Good transition.
Maybe before getting right into them, maybe what do you think about them having to go to the army?
First, I was like very against it because like they are doing everything to promote Korea, and like Korea is hot right now.
Sure.
And they are on top of everything right now, and like that timing is not great. But like I understand why they did it because.
Explain to me, because I don't understand.
Like they are worldwide popular, right? And even Koreans all know them, and like lots of young guys would think like, okay, like if you get popular around the world, maybe I can avoid the military service.
Sure. You
So
can avoid it. No problem.
They want to set the good example. I was against it.
Hold on.
Like,
Niall, if you can be number 1 on the Billboard charts for 6 years, you can skip the army.
yeah, I agree.
No problem.
I agree, but
Good luck.
a lot
I
of
think-
Koreans are so sensitive with this issue that like, oh, somebody can get away with it, then like why can this person?
But hold on. You can be the 10th string pitcher for the Asia Games and not even throw a pitch in a game, and you don't have to go.
I know.
That's
Not
the
fair.
ridiculous part.
I know.
I understand if you're hitting home runs or pitching no ball or no run games, but these guys are out there, and I think they make like X% of the Korean GDP is directly or indirectly related to BTS, which is bonkers.
Yeah.
And to think that people would have opposing views to that just boggles my mind.
Because people don't know how powerful they are, like how much money and how much economy impact they have.
Sure.
Like, people don't understand, and they think like, oh, they can get away with it because they are popular.
But it's not get away with it. They earned it.
But they don't think that way. That's why there's so many.
But I think too they might be worried if BTS if they did skip the military, then it's they're super popular. But what's to say like when you make that hard transition from sports to entertainment, now it's going to be
limit?
Where's the limit? Like next year it's going to be a hot YouTuber and like don't let this guy who eats 8 packs of ramen.
No. There's a panel that you go before the panel. They present the case and they decide. That's it. This is easy. Case by case. We know a guy who's trying to dodge the military right now. He's trying to get out of the military. These guys are saying, I'll go into the military. Well, if these guys are doing it, you better get your ass in the military.
Yeah.
But you say the guys are again. There's average guys trying to dodge the military all the time.
I know.
For all kinds of shit. Either it's going to the States or faking a leg injury or all kinds of bullshit.
But they want to set a good example.
I think the PGA golfers, the guy won, the U.S. Open or the British Open or something last year. He should be exempt. That's way the hell harder than being a fifth-string pitcher on the Asia Games team.
I wonder, you got to look back though to
why is it only soccer and thing?
I don't know. It's whenever they made that rule, right?
But hold on,
it seems hard.
This is why it has to be revamped. He can win a gold medal in Asia Games golf and he gets exempted.
But he beats the best in the world.
He won the goddamn PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your prizes go to the army.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was just curious with these guys going. Do you follow them?
Look at her tattoo, man. She's got an army tattoo.
Are you in the army?
No, but like, I don't have to join. Like, I just love them.
Yeah.
So, like,
how many is there? 6, 7?
7 of them.
How many are in the army? 2?
So far 1, 2. Yeah.
I'm just curious if you know, like, why wouldn't they just all go in together so it's 2 years off?
They're all gonna go and like in.
But they're not. The 2 guys are in already.
They will get together again, or something like that. So they're not going at the same time, but like
it'll over 3 years they'll all be in.
Go. That's the plan. What I know.
Are they getting special treatment?
Sure, of course.
I'm not sure.
Sure, they are.
What, is he just working as a local gongmuon in an office, or are they in?
No, they're doing army.
They're in the army.
Yeah, that's the other one. I was just talking this morning about the street police. He goes, who are these guys? These are street police. Who are they? Well, not good enough to get into the army. If you don't do that, you go work at a school with handicapped children or elderly. So, yeah, there's a few different options. But if those guys are going to the army, that means everybody should go. And there shouldn't be all... like these random guys go to present their cases. I'm too weak for the army.
Yeah. What kind of special treatment are they getting though? Like, are they doing anything special?
You think Buddy's crushing their gonads on there?
I don't know.
Would you if you were the sergeant or whatever?
I think you should treat everyone equally.
The same, yeah.
But
knowing the guy's the biggest superstar in the world, are you gonna?
It would definitely affect.
Those push-ups aren't good enough.
Yeah, kick him in the ribs.
Like, really?
Give him a throat
I think
punch.
it's documented of guys in the past that have G-Dragon or whoever else had gone in.
There's no way that guy could do 8 push-ups.
They get a little
G-Dragon?
bit softer.
He's got little spaghetti arms.
Softer treatment. Why don't you tell us the real BTS story there, the influence and the...
So, I have a long story. Like, do you want me to?
No, that's the best story.
So, I lost my dad to suicide in 2016 when my daughter was only 2 months old. And at that time, like, my son was only 2, just turned 2.
Sure.
So, like, they were way too young. And I was way too busy to, like, grieve raising the little kids. So I didn't know how to cope. And then a few years later, my kids were older, so like I have some time to sit and
breathing
think,
room,
right? So I got really depressed. I can't even remember when it started, but like I was really depressed and I couldn't control my emotions. Like, and I was really, really not great to AJ, my husband, and like, and my kids. because I was grumpy. I was not happy. I didn't know how to come out of this thing because nobody tells you how to. And
It's the whole problem. Nobody knows.
And especially when you lose somebody to suicide, you always feel guilty, and you always think like, what if I tried harder? Like you always have that thing. Like if you lose your like dad or mom to cancer,
Sure.
you know it's coming. So you kind of prepare in your mind,
Sure.
like, okay, I'm gonna lose them like one
But
day.
even if it's an accident or a tragedy,
Yeah,
a
it's
car
just
accident or something,
You
but
can do anything about it. But like suicide, like all the left people.
What could I? What should I?
Was it me?
Sure.
Like, was it like what could I have done? So that was like I thought about it a lot, and now I know that like I understand why he did it. Like my dad was addicted to gambling, and like he used to go to HHI, right? Like he was working there for like 30 years, and then like when I was in high school, my dad got in a like really big car accident, and like he was on his motorcycle and he was going to work, and this truck driver just drove him over, and everyone thought he was dead at the time, and he broke all the bones, and it was a big one, and so he was at a hospital for 6 months after that. And like while he was there, at that time there was this Pada Yagi, which was like a gambling
Club?
places
Yeah.
like popping up, but they're illegal, right? Like in Korea, gambling is illegal. So they were going around to hospitals to recruit some people because they don't know anything. Like they need to find somebody to gamble, right? So they go
Holy
to hospitals
shit.
and like people at the hospital, they have nothing to do.
Yeah.
So
They might be depressed,
Yeah.
bored.
Exactly.
That's
So
the serotonin that.
they recruit.
Hey, you got a chance. Oh.
So like my dad got into it because like, otherwise, like how do you get into it? You don't know.
Is this cards? Is this like online?
Everything like no, it's not online. Like they had
Ghost Dog,
shops.
Hula.
Yeah, and like they had like those what is that machine?
Slot machines?
Yeah, slot machines and everything. I don't know. I've
Oh,
never
wow.
been to.
Yeah.
But like
A
it's
pachinko or something.
Yeah.
Oh, so hold on.
Probably
It's a
something
place that they go?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
and then they changed the places all the time
Sure.
because it's illegal, right?
But
Like,
how do they? So what? How do they recruit them in the hospital?
they just go
They say
there
as soon
and
as you
then,
get
like,
out, come to this place.
or like, oh, you're staying at the hospital, so just come for like 1 or 2 hours, and then they get addicted.
It's exciting, yeah.
Yeah, it's gambling.
So it's like the guys in the Tewa that are walking across to the park in their hospital gowns, smoking and having a coffee or something.
You could leave the hospital.
Yeah, you can. You're free to leave the hospital.
My idea is if you can leave the hospital, go home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
like, I
you
don't-
know, Korean
Care
system.
is
So
different.
that's what I'm saying. Like, is it? I thought if you say that, I thought he was like in the hospital, like immobilized in the hospital.
No.
So they're like, hey, on your lunch today, come over and play. Yeah,
Exactly. So he got into it, and then he was addicted. And I think my mom didn't even tell us about it because I think my mom wanted him to get out of it, so she didn't even have to mention to the
But she knew about it.
She knew about it.
Yeah. That's a parent's thing, probably. She wants to protect the
she
kids.
wants to,
Yeah, of
she
course.
wants to like respect my
Understand,
dad
sure.
and
Of course.
all that. So, that anyway, it went on, and we found out about it like when I was like 25 or something, like after 10 years.
Yeah.
So my mom was always struggling, but we found out and we told Dad like, you need to stop, but like he has a addiction, right?
Sure.
Like it's not easy to get out of it. So like
Probably one of the hardest. yeah.
thing, right? Like
And
And there's no sympathy.
Not-
That's
not
another
just-
one too.
exactly.
not just the hardest thing. I think in Korea it makes it like 10 times harder
Because it's illegal
because there's
too.
But there's no help for it.
That's like you can't
there's no
reach
help.
out even if you want it. You can't reach out. Like all those machines in Canada everywhere say gambling is bad for your health. If you think you gamble too much, call this line. Like I know in Winnipeg, the machines shut off every 15 minutes.
Oh,
Every 15 minutes, the machine's got to shut off. Like at the little bars
Yeah.
that have
Yeah.
whatever. You just sit there for hours.
yeah, you can do that.
So it shuts off every 15 or 20 minutes for 5 minutes. So they'll go to the bathroom, get a drink, come back, keep playing. But I'm sure for some people they go, okay, maybe it's time to go home. I'm sure it probably works for some people.
Casino Niagara, as soon as you walk in, there's like the counseling center, and you can go in and you can ban yourself from the casino. Like there's, I swear to God, I had a friend who banned himself from the casino. It's like I can't do it. But that doesn't.
Yeah, but they're not out actively seeking to help people. It's like if you want
but
come.
That doesn't exist here.
Well,
And there's almost no sympathy for gamblers because it is illegal. You're doing it to yourself. But it's a sickness, just like drugs or alcohol or whatever.
Or cancer.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's a cancer
absolutely of the brain.
mental.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So he couldn't get out, and I'm sure he tried lots. Like who likes to losing money all the time, right?
Of course,
like, and he was working all the time, and he was losing money, and like I'm sure he tried many times to quit.
Of course.
And he's back again. And then when I had my second daughter, my mom was back home in Canada to take care of me. And then 2 months after she went back, she found out that like my dad never really went to the gambling place. She had a tracking app. That my dad didn't know about. And like my dad always went to work, but that day, the next day my mom got home, my mom felt weird. Something was off. So like she checked, and he never really skipped work and went there, but he was there. But he went to work in the morning. So she called my mom and she called my sister, and then they went to the gambling place, and then they asked my dad to come out, and my dad came out, and like I'm sure he was so embarrassed. Like, you are like caught. So they went home, and my dad wanted to go drive somewhere, and he just killed himself in the car with those, I don't know what it's called. Yeah,
briquettes.
Charcoal, those things. And so so now I thought about it for years and years, like why he did it. And like at first I was really mad that like he made that kind of decisions, but now I know that he made that decision because of us. Like
now
he knew he
his
couldn't
soul is
stop.
free.
He can't stop himself.
So
the only way he can stop this is killing himself, so we don't suffer anymore. But he didn't think about like how much pain we will go through losing him. He only thought about like, okay, if I get rid of myself, my family wouldn't struggle.
And it's a huge dilemma. And I said even to my wife, if I'm in a vegetative state, I don't want to do that. I watched my grandparents live as vegetables. Like, I mean, for times, like they don't remember who you are. They can't talk to you. They can't do it. And I was like, if I'm like Grandpa, you just trip and pull the plug out, and that's it, and I'll be gone. And like, that's so selfish. How can you not think of us? And I was like, but
what's the point?
Like, we never went to see Grandpa. Now I regret it. Like, we never went to see Grandpa every day. There was no point to go and see him. He couldn't do anything. But then you think how much maybe just like holding his hand or something would mean. Or I just can't imagine putting that burden on someone for 10 years. I'm going to live, like in Korea, they don't do that, I don't think. Like my grandparents lived in the hospital for 10, 15 years. Lived in the hospital. And I mean.
That definitely happens here. Then the Yoyangdong one, they do that. Well, that it might be a new thing,
but it's not like home. Like home, it's standard where if you're incapacitated, you just go. I mean, in a nursing home, and then you go to the hospital because no one's taking care of you.
But they just passed the assisted suicide, didn't they?
I don't know if they did or not, but that's kind of where it's going. Was it? I said, and I never thought like, what about your kids? What about this? What if there's 1% chance? I'm like.
Meh.
Yeah, you know what? If there was 1% chance it was my daughter, I'd say, no, leave her on life support, leave her on this. If there's 1%, I'm waiting 1% for her to come back. And yeah, it's...
But you should have autonomy over your own life.
But that's the thing, like, that's what she's saying. Yeah. Like, you think you're relieving you of this stress, but then it brings on a completely different stress.
Of course.
He didn't think about that part, right?
But even if he did, maybe you think this stress is better than that stress. Yeah. Maybe me bankrupting our family, AJ and Juju have to move back from Canada. Everybody's going to be poor forever because of me. I think them living with me and this is easier than me making them poor the rest of their lives.
Sure.
So that's, I mean, like, it's a no-win situation. It's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
The solution is having access to help, having access to support. And like you said, it's so taboo here for anything. I mean, hi, I'm Nate. How many bottles do you drink? What if I don't drink bottles? Is that okay? Like, can I say I don't drink bottles? But, you know, it's kind of like rah, 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 where, no, I think you have a problem. Your first question was, how many bottles of soju can I drink? I think you got a problem. I think you need help. But it's not. It's how much of a man are you?
We had a friend just lived over here who super successful hagwon, but developed a gambling, like hagwon, nice apartment, family. You just look, you're like, oh my God, like, dude, like, you're kind of envious of his life, man. He did really, really good for himself, but lost absolutely everything to gambling. And when you talk to him after, you're like, what happened? He's like, it just takes control of your mind. And he said, there's no help, there's nothing here, and everyone wants to kind of sweep it under the rug, and there's no option to even get better, even if you wanted to, man. So it's rough.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people that can't understand, I think a lot of people, I mean, some people are aware of it, some are not, but I mean, I'm addicted to sugar, and I have been forever, and it's just not demonized like cigarettes or booze or gambling or whatever. But try and get off sugar. Try and show me how to get off sugar. You can't. I mean, it's so bloody hard because we've been born with it and injected with it and eaten it for our whole lives. And now it's in everything. I mean, it never used to be. And this is the whole society, government, food, the rich guys working against everybody else. Like, don't you want us to be healthy and live long? No. I want you to buy more and more and more and more. So the more your glucose goes up and down, up and down, up and down, the more money I make because you keep buying my stuff. And I mean, just trying to control that and to eat a reasonably healthy diet is extremely challenging. So I think for people who can't understand some of those harder ones that we look down on, I mean, try even quitting coffee for a month.
Exactly.
People go bonkers, man.
Oh, dude, I didn't have coffee for a day. I mean, the day I switched from like having 2 or 3 cups a day to switching just to 1, it was I had a race that. Oh no, shit! I did have a coffee that day. No, I had a coffee really early, and it was the next morning. So it was like a long delay before I had my next coffee, and I was a dick. And I was like very irritable, like noticeably, like, oh my God, why am I like yelling at my kids for no reason? You know?
So that's what I mean. Like now I look at it and think, well, Gina and Lena need a dad, and if I don't figure out how to take care of myself better, I mean, they're not going to have a dad long enough. That's crazy, and they shouldn't have to live like that either because I didn't, figure out how to live properly. And again, it's not. None of them are easy, but you got to think of the consequences and try and find that help. And unfortunately, for a lot of these things, it's not out there. And now it's this loneliness. Now the one is the loneliness. That if you're not connected, these are the school shooters. They're all the craziest shit, and all the people dying at 55, 65, 70 years old because they got no meaningful connections in their life.
But that was that long Harvard study, wasn't it? Have you seen that one? It's a TED Talk, and they got it was like an 80-year study or something ridiculous. And their big conclusion was like happiness or longevity, or maybe both. I think they might have studied happiness or longevity, and the outcome was like if you have lots of money, it doesn't matter. If you think
the only thing that matters is meaningful connections, and it makes sense. It 100% makes sense.
Well, that's if you look to it. Say Portugal, who's legalized all drugs, and they don't view drugs as a criminal activity. They just say like, oh, you have a sickness, much like whatever other disease, and we're gonna treat you by not putting you in jail, but by showing you like, oh, here you can work here, you should do this social activity, you can connect to this group, and I think that's a better approach to it, anyways. But anyways,
when you say you changed there from your daughter was born, you didn't have time to grieve, and then after they got a little bit older, it kind of did you find that like, okay, now I can do my grieving, or it hit you and
it hit me.
Holy shit, what's going on?
Like
because you weren't as busy.
Why am I so like annoyed with everything? Like why am I? Sometimes I think about like why am I sad? Like I was just sit there and then start crying for
Sure.
no reason.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking like, oh, probably that's because I didn't grieve.
Something
you-
creeping up from the
And
past.
you have to connect the dots. You got to find it
Yeah,
out.
exactly. So like I was confused then and
Absolutely.
then depressed and all that.
Did you ever think of going to counseling or a therapist or something?
I thought about it and then I
Then you figured it
actually
out?
booked it too, and then like I realized like I was just like, oh, maybe if I see somebody and if I get the counseling that maybe I will get better. And then I just realized that like if I don't change myself, nobody's gonna change me.
Sure.
Like if I don't decide to be better, to get out of this funk or whatever, like
But lots of people can't realize, right? Like
Yeah.
it sounds like you realized you connected the dots. But if you can't connect the dots, I think the therapist figures out and asks you the question. You're okay. So you're telling me why you're like this. So now we have to deal with it. And once you can get over that, then you can keep moving forward. But some people can't connect the dots and figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's why I think
they just can't
the
get
therapy is
out.
really
Yeah.
good. Yeah. And they. Like the ones I'm always surprised is like, did you have any traumatizing stories when you were in elementary school? And the guy would say, yeah, like my mom ran over my foot or something. Like that might be it. That might be why you're so angry now. You have resentment from then that you never got out because, and then it snowballs into like 10 other things, and you kept getting angrier and angrier because of that one thing. And it's amazing how they can connect something from 25, 30 years ago to why you're angry about these little things now. And that's, I think, I mean, God bless their souls, the ones that do it. I mean, they can find some wild stuff and tie it back together and show you how you can get over this to move on.
So when you're in the deep dark depression, at what point do you pivot and you're like, oh, like you had your realization, like, and then you're pivoting and you're starting to get better. What helps you along this path?
BTS.
Yeah, BTS. So like one of my Canadian friends, she asked me like, do you know BTS? And I said like, no, I haven't listened to any K-pop.
This was just in passing. This wasn't related to your dad or anything.
No, just like randomly.
Hey, do you know BTS?
Yeah. My friend just asked me, and she's like, and I said like I haven't listened to K-pop for like since I was like 18, and like I always try to listen pop songs, like always English songs, because like I wanted to get better. So I stopped listening to K-pop, and so I don't watch K-dramas. I didn't really do anything with Korean things. So she was like, no, you are Korean. How can you not know about BTS? So she was super upset. You have to look them up. So like, okay, I will. And then I looked them up and like I fell in love with them, but not just because they are good looking and they can dance and sing. But
And their hair, and their clothing style, and the shoes.
No, it's not only that. Like their songs are all about love
Meaningful.
yourself.
Yeah, meaningful.
Love yourself.
Yeah.
You can do it. You're worthy. You are shining as you are.
Yeah.
You are enough. It's okay not to be okay.
Sure.
Like their lyrics are just amazing messages.
I think it struck a chord with the North American market because that's that's
That's
a
what
big
you
message.
need.
Yeah.
Like
But I
that's
think-
what everybody needs.
But I think, like, I wonder, at the beginning, I wondered if they were like if that's your real feeling or if that's some guy writing your song, listen,
Manufactured.
the world needs this, so you guys sing this, you're going to be popular.
They actually make their own songs.
Yeah.
But that's
right?
once I looked into it and stuff, and that these guys are kind of like, this is their kind of way of communicating their message. But, I mean, just as easily, someone's writing Bieber songs about the same thing. You're like, this is just to be a hit. This isn't really Bieber. He doesn't care with this. And that's the old school musicians that we like. They used to write the music, write the words, play the music.
It's the authenticity that makes it.
That
makes
was
it
a
meaningful.
musician. But going to Melon Countdown in Mokpo there at the F1 race, you're seeing all these fireworks and flashes and this and just dancing. Like, what is this stuff, man? Like, and nobody even knows what the words mean, or these guys put like their feelings on paper, and you could kind of connect to them or something. That's my interpretation of they're different. in that way that they make their own music. Because the other guys all seem fake next to them.
And they talk about what they feel. And like they were young. They've been around for 10 years, right? They were young when they started. So they talked about how they struggled. And they talked about like how much work they put in to become a singer. And now they're on top of the world.
Sure.
And all that. And a lot of their songs are talking about what's your dream. Like I tried so hard to achieve my dream, and then look at me, I'm on top, and that kind of songs too, and their songs were like making me feel better, and they are saying
that was your
like,
therapy.
It's okay, and I'm like, okay, like
it's not just me.
It's not just me. A lot of people listen to this song and then they recognize that they are depressed or they want to change their lives too.
Absolutely.
And then they're singing about like suicide too. Like, so like I watch all the videos and all that, and like there's all the comments, a lot of comments on each videos, and they're all in either English or everywhere. And it's hard to find Korean comments. And all the comments are talking about like, I tried to kill myself and I found BTS and now I'm living
I can't
a happy
imagine
life. And
or I lost someone to suicide, or I lost someone to this. Thank you for helping me get through it.
And I was so happy that like this Korean boy band is doing this to the
all
world.
over the world.
And like all these people are like so touched by them, and their lives are changing, and I was very proud that it can be just like some kind of like American band singing in English, but like the fact they are singing in Korean and people all over the world are listening to their songs, and even though they don't understand, they try to understand the songs, and they look up the lyrics and like all this.
And it facilitates the conversations too, man. That's which is good. Did you find reading about it or talking about depression, did that help you? Talking about it, whether it's with a friend or family,
of course. Like, and especially in Canada, nobody judges you when I say I lost my dad to suicide. But in Korea,
it feels like nobody, but I mean, nobody compared to Korea, probably. I'm sure there's still, I still want to say there's a lot of judging going on in Canada, but probably nothing close to what it would be here.
No, not at all. Like my mom, it's been almost 7 years, and my mom hasn't even told her best friend. She told nobody. That she lost her husband to suicide.
But so this is back to the same thing, like the taboo-ness, which seeing BTS sing about it and knowing that there's nowhere to reach out in Korea even, now you don't have to reach out. They reached you and you can kind of lean on them. But now the whole world doesn't think they're crazy singing about this. The whole world accepts them. Then, maybe I can accept myself more or better, or it's okay for me to like those words or move on or think good things, because the whole world is, even if Korea was kind of like, well, these guys are kind of weird singing about this crazy shit, we don't talk about that. The whole world loves them because maybe it's okay. And I think they erased a lot of that. There's still not a lot of support here, but they erased a lot of the taboo-ness of maybe talking about it. And if not for your mom's age, at least the next couple generations to come, which might be our children and their children. So,
but that's the thing. The conversation has to start, and it started in Canada. I mean, even before I came here, and it was hockey players coming, because for forever we always looked at movie stars, hockey players, and any sports athlete. And you're like, oh, you got the ideal life, and then they come out and they're like, no, I'm deeply depressed. I hate my life. I'm an alcoholic. And you're like, but you're a professional athlete making millions of dollars. How could that be? And it is what it is, man.
But you, in that regard, you look at the NFL and these other guys are in jail. That guy, the NBA guy, flashing guns in the strip club with $20,000 on the floor, and you're like, Ja Morant?
No.
What are you doing? You're 23 years old.
That's why.
Now the leagues had to suspend him. He said on Instagram, sorry. They go, that's the best ChatGPT apology ever. He did it again like a month later, flashing a gun. It's illegal to have guns in the NBA wherever you are. And if it was from a different state, because they thought he had played, say, in California, So he was out of state with a gun. That's like a national felon offense or something. Anyways, you're like, where's the mentoring for these guys? Like, why doesn't the league have one-on-one chaperones, at least for their stars?
Sure.
So they don't get in this freaking trouble. It's crazy. Go to the strip club fight. Don't bring a gun. Don't bring a gun to the strip club. And then, your video goes on, whatever, but you can't bring a gun. Is that a deal breaker?
That's a
then
tall
go
order,
back to the hood because you're not staying in the NBA. I mean, they should have full-on mentors for these guys. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But back to the original point. I think talking about it is a big thing.
Yes.
One I mentioned here before. I had a bout of panic attacks and maybe you can say depression a little bit. And it was I felt better after talking to like my brother when he's like, "Oh man, I've been having those for years. You'll be fine. It's okay. You'll get through it." And I was like, "Oh, I'm not the only." I think that's the thing. Like, I'm not the only one. Oh my God. Okay, I thought I was going nuts. It's gonna be okay. And that was a huge thing. That was a big thing for me. Yeah.
So like I talked about it because I'm not shameful. Like, it's not something that I am ashamed.
It's out of your control, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it happened, and it's happening to a lot of people. They just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And I was just talking about it, and like my friends don't judge me for that, right? So like I could grieve my sadness better, but my mom couldn't do it. My mom still takes the depression pills and all that, like, because she can't talk about it.
It's a different generation.
I was going to ask you, did you ever take medicine for it? Pills?
No, I didn't.
So I think, might need a fact check, but I think it was Australia that
just banned it.
That ruled 2 months ago or something that no more medication for anxiety or depression. And now they're prescribing sleep and exercise.
Oh.
Because clinical studies showed that they had 86% better effect than any pills and medicine did.
I think the pills are only 30% efficacy anyways.
Yeah, but it's just, I need something. Okay, this will help me. And it's more placebo than anything. Mm-hmm. But they banned pills to treat anxiety and depression because they're not helping anyways. Mm-hmm. If you combine proper sleep with exercise, and I don't know if that was a combination of that makes you feel better, so now you're able to talk about it, or, I mean, if you're sitting on the sofa eating chips all night, watching Netflix and taking depression pills, it can't be good.
Mm-hmm. I think it was sleep. What was it? Sleep, exercise. I think they threw BTS in there too. Yeah, I think that's a new one.
But it's a great example that, I mean, luckily, I mean, you were able to connect the dots and figure it out. You didn't go to therapy, but I mean, even if you can go to therapy and figure yourself out, man, without having to take, because I think for a lot of people, the pills have way different effects as with other side effects and other impacts on your life as well. So
here's a pillow, a dumbbell, and a CD. Go take care of yourself.
There's another topic here, but miscarriage is another one.
No one talks about it.
No one talks about it. Yeah.
And not just here. Home was the same.
Everywhere, yeah.
We didn't know that, Nona had X amount of miscarriages or mom and dad, or like, we didn't know that. And then after, when you say, we had a miscarriage, and then everyone says, oh, it's okay. So did we. So did we. So you're like, what? Everybody? Yeah. Everybody did?
Everybody.
Holy shit. And then you're like, whew, okay. I don't know if it's I mean, you can't judge. I mean, it's not your fault or anything. No, there's nothing to judge. And you don't want the pity or the sympathy. But it's just having someone to talk to or having to talk about it.
Because it's a sad thing.
But in Korea, so I, look up online, and at home it's, make a necklace, there's all, it's like a huge event. And I was like, I don't know if I don't need that much. And everybody's different, of course. But the opposite end was Korea, where you do nothing. Mm-hmm. Don't bring it up. Don't talk about it. Don't whatever. Yeah. And is it going to go away? And now I wonder, now talking to Koreans as we're older and with kids and stuff, and hearing how many people have had miscarriages, I wonder if that's triggers for some of their angriness or depression or whatever, because I know they didn't go and seek counseling because it's not here. Yeah. And I don't mean for foreign, I mean for Korean women and for foreign women. But at home, it's almost the other end of the spectrum, where it's like, and I think everyone has to choose their situation as a couple or whatever, how you're going to deal with this and grieve with it or not. But I just think that sweep it under the rug, I don't know if that's an effective practice. And I don't know if it comes back 10, 15, 20 years later.
Well, that's what happened with you, right? Where it's, I got stuff to deal with right now, but I think, yeah, you can only run for...
So when I think of, like, at home, you know, the therapist would say, like, did anything happen? Did you have any major events or whatever? And no, nothing, just normal. Okay, any minor events? Yeah, this. Okay, this is the stumbling. We have to get past this. We never dealt with this. This is what we got to do. So, yeah, it's in all different forms. But I think of the miscarriage one as another serious thing that when you can't reach out, and I don't know, because you can't go in their brains and figure out how depressed, how much it affects them, how much they think about it. And it's not, you know, the husband's job to bring it up every day. Are you okay? Are you okay? Is it okay? What do you want to do? Do you want to do something? Shut up and get out of here. I'm like, okay, well, I'm trying to be sensitive. I'm trying to be supportive, but I get no idea if it's what to do or not to do. So
yeah, there's no rule book, right? There's no rule book. But back to the
being able to talk about it and get it out is
back to the original point, talking and realizing, oh, it's not just me.
Yeah,
always a great thing, and very I don't know.
And that's what they say to so many people, right? Is the first thing you'll realize is you're not alone.
Yeah,
you're not the first person in the world this ever happened to. And once you realize that and know people are in your same shoes.
For me, it was more like trying to figure out what's wrong with you, and then after you realize, there's this. I don't know. It's almost like getting the COVID vaccine. Maybe there was just like this clarity after you're like, there was so much worry and apprehension before. Then after, it's just like, like the clouds, like the Simpsons beginning, you know. But anyways, BTS get you back on the right path. You start feeling good.
Yeah. So like I was just watching their videos like crazy, and one day one of their songs are about like you stop listening to like stop figuring out what my lyrics are about, like what my music videos are about. Like your parents, your teachers hate us because you are too into us. Yeah. Start live your life. You're gonna waste 1 or 2 years of your life if you just are into us.
That was one of the songs.
Their lyrics, and I realized
they got 10 million more fans.
I'm like, oh no,
he's not talking about me.
Yeah,
he's not talking about me.
I'm wasting my life watching them like crazy, and like I'm gonna waste like not only 1 or 2 years. I'm gonna waste like 3-4 years because like they have so many videos, they have so many contents. So like, I should live. I should not live life like that. Not like super into boy band. So and like when I was watching their videos, they are promoting Korean culture so much. They are wearing this Korean traditional hanbok. They are singing in front of this Korean palace, Gyeongbokgung, and like they are doing like Korean fan dance, and like they are just promoting Korean culture. Yeah. And like where I live, it's like 95%. Like Caucasian. So like I sometimes forget that I'm Asian because I'm surrounded by old white people.
That happens in India.
Yeah, me too. I forget.
Yeah, you forget.
I forget that I'm white here. They tell me every day in the elevator, but sometimes I forget between the elevator and my car.
I know.
I'm not really a Wagyu, am I?
So I forget about it.
Is that kimchi too spice for you, Nate?
So and I've been living there for like over 10 years, and like I haven't really I haven't watched any Korean dramas or anything like that. And when I was watching their like music videos or whatever, I was like, Korean culture is so beautiful, and I forgot about it because I wasn't surrounded by it. And I'm like, yes, Korea is really hot, and I am a proud Korean. Like I should do something Korean. I should like find my heritage. And
AJ, go buy me some cabbage.
No, I don't like cooking.
Go to No Frills. Give me cabbage, fish sauce, and a bunch of gochugaru. Right there.
So, okay, I was listening to their songs all the time, and they were asking you like, what's your dream? Is that it? That kind of stuff. But in Korea, you don't really have a big dream since you're young, because you know that, yeah, it is. And you know that like from very young, you know, if you're not the best in your school, you're not going to Seouldae.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to all the good university, and you know you're not going into Samsung.
Yeah.
So you don't even dream big. You know you're not going to be a lawyer if you're not like one or
top of your school.
second. Yeah. So we don't really have a big dream. Having a dream is like useless.
It's almost no sense to have a big dream.
What's the point of having a dream?
Or it's just a dream and it's not something that's attainable.
It's not, exactly. So like I never really had a big dream growing up. And like at the age of 40, I'm like, what is my dream? Look at these little kids. They dreamt to be a successful singer and they are on top of the world. And like I'm 40 and I know how time goes, like how fast time goes. And like soon I'll be 50, soon I'll be 60. So like what is my dream then? So I'm like, okay, to find my dream, I have to know what I actually like. I don't even know what I liked. And I was always like jealous that AJ was so into hockey. He's passionate about something. And
Too bad he's not good at it.
He's passionate.
Yeah.
Good job standing up for him. That's your job.
So I was always jealous that like he's passionate about something that I didn't have anything. And so like, what do I like? And I thought about it. And when kids were younger, we would do like coloring or painting at home. And then kids are done. And then I'm just sitting there like and painting for like 2-3 hours.
Very therapeutic.
It was so therapeutic. And like, maybe I like painting. I never really was into
This
art.
was from 40 and after BTS songs and everything?
Yes. And like when I try to look for what I actually like. So maybe I like painting. So I bought paint by numbers.
Oh, yeah. You can get the Van Gogh ones and everything. Yeah.
Everything. And I didn't know that
Those
even
give me a
existed. But I just bought it and I bought like a big one with like lots of details. And then, so I started doing it after kids go down at night. So I do it like every day, like for an hour or 2 hours. And I was like, I really enjoyed it, and it took me 4 months to finish a piece. But I was so proud that, like, even though it's paint by numbers, I did something and I finished something and it looks good. It's like, maybe I will keep painting. I like it. So like, okay. And I always thought I'm good at copying things. I never thought I was creative, because being creative doesn't really mean a lot in Korea, because you gotta be good at studying.
And just
You gotta be a good memorizer.
Right?
If you are good at art, you shouldn't really pursue it, because like artists don't make a lot of money and you're not gonna have a successful life, that kind of stuff. So I always enjoyed like doing little like doodling or like coloring and like making like
She just sounds like my wife. Should I get her on the color by numbers? Jeez.
I always enjoyed it. I always said like I'm good at copying other stuff, but I was never creative. So I started with like, okay, I'll paint flowers. So I looked up some like easiest looking, simplest flowers, and then I started painting and like looks good, like because I can copy. And then I realized like after 1 or 2 I'm like, okay, maybe I should do my style. So I was looking at pictures. I found like some really simple flowers, and then I was looking at the pictures and then I drew it and it looked okay. So like, okay, maybe I can keep doing this. And I started bringing Hanji. Hanji is Korean tradition.
But how did the Hanji get into it?
Because I always liked Hanji, and Korea is hot, and like Hanji is a Korean culture. So like when we actually first moved to Canada, we bought a house, and then I actually put this Korean letter like 훈민정음 Hanji on one wall in our office, and it looked really, really
That
good.
was 10 years ago?
Yeah,
or
that was like 13 years ago.
I remember walking around Insadong all the time and saying like, this is the best souvenir I think you can get is just Hanji. It's so
light.
It's so unique and
Yeah,
cool,
it's
and you could use it as a placemat or whatever. I don't know what, but it's so different and unique and so Korean that I think it's a really cool souvenir or gift, but we've never turned into anything in terms of, I mean, I've brought it home before and given it, I don't know what people would do with it, but...
I thought Hanji originally, like, I brought home a piece of Hanji, but it was like a picture frame.
Okay.
Like, I didn't know people make, like, pictures and stuff, like your kind of art, but the one I had, it was a picture frame.
What do they normally use it for?
So
Like, it usually comes in sheets.
Yeah.
What's it normally used for?
So in like back then when first Hanji was made,
It was on the windows, wasn't it?
Yeah, they used for window coverings. They made armor with this Hanji because it was so durable, and you can layer it a bunch, and then it becomes really thick, so even sword can go through. And we made like shoes, we made some clothes, we put all on.
How come
like,
that's not
some
on your site
furniture.
or your message? I haven't seen that explanation yet.
Oh, I gotta get to it.
Coming soon.
Well, Hanji shoes?
I mean, that's, well, if you could introduce that or a little video or something, that's awesome. I mean,
But Hanji,
I know you didn't do that because I follow close enough. I would know if you put that thing on. I haven't heard anything like that yet.
if people listening
awesome.
don't know, Hanji's a Korean traditional paper. Yes.
So
It's the name of the paper, correct?
name
Not
of the
not
paper
the
is
process.
Hanji.
Yeah.
So like 3rd or 4th century, this paper making skill came to China, Korea, Japan at the same time, and then they all used the mulberry trees, and then they all used the same technique. But Koreans are, I don't know if you believe, but Koreans believe that we have like good hand skills, and so we made the Hanji like a little different than Japan or China, and the mulberry trees that grow in Korea, they, because of the climate and everything, they have the best quality. So our Hanji is the strongest and the best quality out of 3 countries. So even back then, China said like, okay, Korean paper is much stronger, much better quality. So when they have like a really important document, they imported Hanji to China, and then they
say it's
they used
Chinese.
it. Yeah.
Like the hanbok. Didn't they claim the hanbok a few years
And
ago?
kimchi too.
Kimchi too.
They claim the hanbok. Like, come on, where does it end?
I think
try
they
and
might-
take the islands, whatever, but you can't be claiming the hanbok for kimchi.
I think they might have something with kimchi though.
Am I thinking of something else, or is it not properly nicknamed rice paper?
So rice paper is like the Japanese paper is called rice paper, but it's not made out of rice. But
Because that's the first time I heard about mulberry trees, and I was like, I didn't want to sound stupid. No, I didn't know. I just thought it was called rice paper, but I didn't know. I've never heard it called mulberry paper.
Yeah.
Oh, the only,
I've never heard anyone say
the only
anything
rice paper I know is the edible rice paper.
the Vietnamese.
Yeah.
But like
No,
yeah,
but
people,
Hanji, I
yeah.
mean, it's a very unique texture. I mean, it's very light. I have no idea, but I thought it was called rice paper, which would make sense because we have
Seems
a
a
lot
little
more
racist to me,
Japanese
that-
culture, and we would have been exposed to the Japanese side of it way before anyone would have introduced Hanji or mulberry. So if I have seen that at Japanese restaurants in Canada and they called it rice paper,
Yeah.
like sometimes they would say the lanterns or Buddhas
they
are made out of rice paper.
But it's not
I've
rice.
never heard that.
No,
It's all mulberry.
So that's what I'm
but
saying.
I'm thinking
You got to get this stuff on your site.
Mulberry
man. Come on.
pulp.
You got to educate the people like BTS is doing.
So I'm thinking, why is it called rice paper? And people all think it's from rice.
Yes.
And I just assume that because it's from Japan, people just call it rice paper because they thought it was okay to do it at the time.
Yeah.
And it became
And
the thing.
and it's Northeast Asia, and it does get lumped together. And if you said sushi and sashimi, and what's the difference? Or California roll, kimbap, and sushi roll, like. Yeah, there are distinctions, but you got to be there to know what they are. So, but now I'm wondering what the hell's a mulberry tree? Because the other guy knows that song. Here we go around
The mulberry. No, it's a mulberry bush.
bush.
Yeah.
So
you cut all those
now.
down.
Now I'm wondering what a mulberry tree looks like. And I thought on the farm here we got every kind of tree. Do we got a mulberry tree? Now I got to go find out.
Find out,
So-
yeah.
I think the berries that are produced are the same color as your shirt.
Then how's the Hanji get to be white and all those other colors?
It's
So
the,
they
it's
use
the
the
bark.
inner bark
Bleach it?
of
Ah.
in the bark of the mulberry trees.
I think mulberries are purple.
Yeah, mulberry. I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
They are now.
So do you think then that you discovered that you were into art, or you? I'm just trying to get the jump from painting to holy shit, I should bring Hanji over. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Because like,
what's the connection?
If I'm just painting on canvas, like
you love painting. You were doing good at
everybody's
it.
painting on canvas.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So like, oh, maybe.
So this time you think I'm an artist. I gotta
like
do something different.
I want to do something Korean. So like, just bring Hanji, and Hanji's really colorful.
When you say bring Hanji, can you source that in Canada, or you're sending it from Korea?
From Korea, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
So
What if you painted your messages the same way you do the Hanji? I mean, you can't get but if you just painted, you could do it, right? It would be more blocky. It would have to be more. Like, you do some circles and some. But if you painted it, you could just paint it, right?
I could paint it, but I'm thinking like, because. So I started bringing Hanji, and then I started drawing flowers on Hanji. But because Hanji is really colorful, my not shitty, but like not great flowers pop because of Hanji.
Sure.
So like, oh, okay, I like this, and then I kept drawing flowers, and then I drew maybe 30 flowers or whatever. But like, I was always listening to their music, and they always have positive messages.
Stop listening to me.
So I started I started thinking maybe I can put messages in my art instead of like drawing flowers. Millions of people are drawing flowers.
This is a serious influence, like multi-layered influence, different stages.
So I started ripping Hanji, and then I glued Hanji on Hanji, and I put messages in
Hanji burger.
in my art, and I kept doing it.
What happened to the flowers? Because I remember the flowers, and I thought, oh, this is a cool kind of different flowers, but I way prefer the messages because I said I treat them like Sudokus.
Yeah.
In the beginning, they were really easy. Like I showed Gina and Lena, they could pick them out.
Yeah.
But the newer ones, the last 6 months or so, they're like.
I almost messaged a couple times. It's like you got to send me the answer sheet to where the letters are, man. It's cool. Yeah, it is.
But what happened to the flowers? Because they're kind of gone now.
But like,
Once in
I'm
a
not
while.
drawing them anymore because this is way more fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sure.
And what is the process of making one? How long does it take? Like, I just look at that and go, oh my god, ripping that much honey. But she must have just slapped a whole big piece and no, everyone's ripping the little thing. Oh my gosh.
It depends on some pieces have lots of details and like lots of little pieces, then it will take longer. But some are pretty simple, and I love like abstract. So I want it to look like abstract, but it is actually letters, right? So some simple pieces, they don't take that long. I just have to come up with an idea.
Sure. What's
Do you chat GPT 100 messages for Korean Hanji art? Or
No.
Where's the inspiration for the messages come from? Or the phrases?
BTS track 1, BTS track 2, BTS track 2?
Lots of it too.
You're going to have to pay royalties to them pretty soon. If there's one more connection here, you're going to be paying royalties.
But like, I always, like, all my pieces actually, the messages are to myself. So I make pieces like that. I can do it. 할 수 있어. Or I believe in myself. Or you're doing good. Or it's okay.
Yeah.
And all those messages are like to myself, but people need to hear too.
Sure.
Right? Like, because I realized like when I was depressed, I didn't know how to get out, but luckily I found BTS and then they gave me the hope. So maybe if I put messages in my art, somebody might think like, oh, okay, yeah,
You
I
never
am doing
know,
good.
right?
I am doing good. It's okay. Like those messages, if they look at my piece every day and they realize like, okay, like I'm worthy.
Yeah.
That is a great message to.
Has anyone asked you for a hybrid piece where you would write "you got it" in Hanji in English?
In English, I don't really want to make it.
I know you don't want it, but has anyone
nobody asked.
Because, I mean, someone looking at that thing, I mean, they might even forget the message because it doesn't make, they don't
but
know
they
Korean.
know they bought that piece, right? Like
They chose
they
that,
chose it, and they like the look of it, and they know the meaning of it.
But that's why I wonder if someone thought, if you could do it in English, and I woke up every morning and said, you got it, that I love your style, but could you do one in English?
No,
Yes,
nobody
no.
asked yet. They
If.
all want Korean letters.
If
If you pay lots,
Price goes up.
show me the money.
Translation.
but I do love that. Like, and a lot of people who come to like my art walk or something like that, like they all say what they love about my art is, I'm showing my culture. Like I'm using Korean letters. I'm using
It's
using
unique.
Korean.
It's cool.
Korean traditional paper, and it has messages. So like they've never seen anything like this before, and like there are lots of art with English, right? Like there's lots of
And
them
how
out
many
there.
times have you seen, you got it, you can do it. Just
They're
do
on
it.
Amazon,
Nike.
$2 a pack for
exactly.
inspiring messages every morning.
Exactly, but when you look at the K art, it's something you have to, but because you're not familiar with the language, right? I'm sure Canadians buying that, they got to process and they got to really think about it. Like, what does that say again? Oh, you got it. And that, I think maybe that
And I think it's also like getting the tattoo on your arm.
water.
Yeah, the Chinese, but it's intriguing. You're like, what the hell does that say? It says I'm cool. But people don't know. And if someone walks in your house and they go, hey, what is that? That's kind of cool, but what the heck does it mean? Or how do you... Well, look, if you look here, it's this and this sound. I mean, if they know it, I mean, I think that...
Do you explain do you show like...
Korean letters?
Yeah. Do you show them where it is? Like, this is the K, this is the...
Yeah, like of course, like every time like I show my art, I always put Korean letters and then English what it means and the price. So people come to my booth and I always ask like, oh, have you seen Korean letters before? And
This is the pitch? Is this the pitch? Is this the pitch?
Yeah. These days, most people say yes. Like, I couldn't have imagined that people saying yes to this question 10 years ago even.
Sure.
But most people say yes now. And even
God, they're
they
going to think
say
I'm a
like,
Korean when I get home.
even people haven't seen it, and I show them like, oh, sometimes I use the Korean letter Hanji. So they look at it, oh, I've seen it. Because, like, they've seen
BTS.
maybe a Squid Game.
Oh,
or
sure,
they've seen something
Kim's
Korean,
Convenience.
right? Like, something Korean.
That's a good...
they've
Did you
seen
watch that?
No.
Have you seen Kim's Convenience?
TV, dude.
Have you seen Kim's Convenience?
a few of them, yeah.
Yeah. I watched, I think, season 1
My
or 2.
dad, the shows my dad watches now are all Korean shows.
Oh, really?
He's like, oh, Korea's got the top 3 Netflix shows right now. Do you know this? I'm like, no clue, no idea.
I'm not responsible enough.
But they're, and he explains them in depth, and he's fully connected to them. Like, I think.
I know there are, and so like when I ask like, have you seen Korean letters? And they say, yes, I watch Korean dramas all the time. So many people answer that. And they are super into, once they get into Korean drama, they don't watch anything else.
Sure.
They go to the next Korean drama,
They got
next
a
one,
magic
next one.
pain in that drama there.
Yeah, it's hyper dramatic.
The crazy part is that it's not one-dimensional. This has been going on in Thailand for 15 years already.
When I was...
And Vietnam, and like these guys were addicted to K-dramas years before
And K-pop,
BTS.
yeah.
Maybe G-Dragon and before that.
Yeah.
They were all over this.
When I was there in 2010...
But to see it now permeate different cultures and countries, and it's mind-boggling.
I was there in 2010 for training, and all the trainers were just like, "You're from Korea? Did you see Will You Marry Me yesterday?" I was like, "No. What are you doing? Have you seen this like bakeries?" I'm like, "No." "Do you listen to this?" I'm like, "No, dude. I don't. I live there, but I'm somehow it's not penetrating my bubble area." Yeah.
But I wrote that down. Like how, you said you didn't follow any of the K-pop culture, any of that, and I think like. For us, it's the same. Like, ask me anything about BTS. I don't know very much. They're like, you live there. Come on, I want to come and see them. Like, do you live by them? Like, I don't know. Come and find out. I get no idea. I got zero interest in this stuff other than the good they're spreading in the world and how they're promoting Korean culture, sets the groundwork for my kids and multiculturals and bullying and everything else. So I appreciate the message and the work they're doing, but in terms of how old Jimin and how many girlfriends, I got no idea. And the K-dramas, again, absolutely no clue. But I'm glad people are loving them all over the world.
But I think the difference, because I've seen lots of like American dramas and all that, the difference between them is Korean dramas touch the feelings.
Kamdong?
Yeah.
It's very kamdong.
And like you get into what the actors and the actresses think, like their emotion, they touch the emotional side. Like American dramas, they are actions or like something happened and then something happened after that. It's all about that.
I think that's what I'm born for. There's two things, Heron doesn't watch very much, but when she does, I'm just like, oh man. Or that frickin' Aegyo thing that I just cannot connect to. Yeah. I just don't get it. And I don't know if I ever can. And the other one's the mistreatment of women. And that frickin' pulling them by the arm and the scolding and it's too dramatic. The crying and the stuff of the women, it's just outrageous. Like, come on. Well, I don't want to live, if that's an source of entertainment if you understand, but I think in Korea it's like it becomes their reality. It's like people act like that.
Life imitating
when
art.
Something doesn't go your way and the moms act like them. Like, hey, stop and take a breath. This is not a K-drama. This is a school or a hagwon. The guy's mom came in from the university to meet me to discuss her kid's grade and scold me. And I'm like, whoa. This is 2022, last year, and this is not how it works. Oh, you don't understand Korean culture. We can tell the professors. I'm like, I don't know what Korea you live in, the drama one, but this is not how it works. I don't know. Those two things and hearing that yelling and like the couples yelling and screaming. I don't know if that's all I don't know what they're like. The ones that pop on my TV sometimes are like that. And I just think it's toxic.
But there are some good ones. I don't watch a lot. I don't have time to watch.
Those remind me of soap operas, I guess. Like that adult. But if it was really young people good. And families and whatever, I think that might be a little better, yeah. I'll have to watch a couple.
Sure. Take us through the process of creating a piece, right? If I'm drawing, I know roughly what I want to draw. If I'm painting, it's more spontaneous. When you're creating a piece, is it totally sketched out before? Do you know exactly what you want to do? Do you draw on the canvas and then stick like?
No, I don't draw on the canvas.
Are you licking and sticking? What do you? Are you gluing it? Okay. Just a bunch of stamps.
No, I don't stick.
Lick and stick. Hanji. Buy the kit for your kids.
So I just have an idea what to write, what.
You know the message.
Yeah, I know the message. Then I think about what kind of shape of canvas I'm going to use, sure. And then I design it on the paper, little, and then I start ripping. And sometimes I change as I go a little bit, but mostly I have an idea already.
What you want to do?
What is the inspiration of the shapes, the colors? The size that you choose.
It's just the feeling.
Sure, yeah.
Because some come out and they're like, I'm like, holy shit, she must have had 6 coffees today because that thing's bright. And the other one's like, wow, this is kind of somber and a little quieter. And
what was the one you do with the mountains?
Mountains, you're shining brighter than anybody.
But it said something in that.
Yeah.
That was incredible. I was like, oh, look at the picture. But wait a minute. Hey, she's got something written in there too. Yeah, that's wild, man. That's really cool. That's
so
really
I
cool.
even so that one before I made mountains once, and because I even look at my old art and I'm looking at it like, wow, I
did that
so much since the beginning. Like at the beginning, the pieces are so simple and everything, and now.
But those were cool. I like those, and I wish you brought some of those back once in a while, so I didn't have to think so hard.
I don't have any.
I wish you made a couple easy ones because, those were. I totally connected. I mean, being Korean, you read the message right away, you get it right away. But like you say, these ones are like a puzzle, man. trying to figure them out takes
keeps
a while.
It fresh.
Yeah.
So like So because I made mountains before, now I know, like, when I first made mountains, cause I like mountains, I wanted to make a mountain, like, scenery piece. And then I made one. And then the next one, I put I actually said mountain in mountains. And I put the sun in the sun. I made that piece. And that didn't have a message, right? It just literally said mountain and sun. But I liked it. And then the next time I made mountains and like, oh, I can actually put letters in my mountains.
Sure.
So like, as I make more pieces, I progress. And then I'm loving it.
I think isn't that the point of school? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
shouldn't you be doing that? Like, if you went to school for art, it's just you're I mean, they can teach you techniques and whatnot, but until you're in the trenches doing it and repeating, I mean, you can use the same technique or whatever for 10 pieces. And then it's one time you get a thought, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Like the mountain thing. Like, oh, I can write stuff in the mountains. Oh, that leads you to, oh, I can write something in here. And it's just collecting these new experiences, you know, just a random thoughts that come and
I think before you post it, or when you post it, you could have like the weekly challenge. Like, what was my inspiration? She must have had mango curry for dinner. Or then you get this black and white one's awesome, but I mean, it's totally different. I mean, they're completely different. But I was trying to think, wow, maybe there's a rainbow yesterday or something. Or what? I always try and think, like, what's going on there? What happened? Where'd this come from? Because they're so unique.
Yeah. How often would you be creating a piece?
Often as I want to.
Yeah.
Like, I can. So sometimes, like, I put it off, like, doing the dishes or cleaning. And then I'm just like, I want to make peace.
Okay,
and,
okay.
like, I want to make peace. Like, because I'm so into it, I'm loving it. I want to make it all the time. Like, during pandemic, I was sometimes like, oh, I don't even want to eat. I just want to keep making
That's when you find
That's what I'm like when I got a puzzle. I'm like, don't bug me for 17 hours till this is done. I'm in the zone.
Juju made this goddamn art, and I got to figure out what it says. Does it ever get laborious? Just no, never.
No,
You never feel like,
what about
shit,
doing the restaurant?
I gotta
whatever it was there. The store.
no.
restaurant wall.
I actually enjoyed it because, like, this huge wall I gotta fill up. And like, at first I went to the coffee shop and then I looked at the wall and, oh, okay. Because like, I was going to go simple and like, oh, it will take like 2-3 days to fill this wall. And then I started doing it, but like, I wanted to flow with the cafe too. Like, it can't be just cafe style and my art on the wall. So I wanted to flow. So like, when you look at it, the floor, the tile is like very unique and so cool. So I wanted to flow with the tile. So I started doing it at the bottom and I put way too many details and like,
Yeah, but that's forever.
It's not gonna take 2 or 3 days. So it took me 7 days, but I finished it. But it was so.
Does that one have messages too?
Yeah, that one says.
The whole thing is messages?
Yeah, you are beautiful. Like, 너는 아름다워.
Because I think you posted one at one time, and I was like, oh, I don't know if she quit this one or she only did like half a job or what. But that looks weird that the guy would contract her for just that part. I thought when she posted the first one, she said you're doing like a whole thing. And then I thought when maybe it was posted, I thought, is she done? Because that looks kind of funny, but you must have had to go back a few times.
Yeah.
Do you have any other collaborations or like working similar to that? Is there any that you have coming up in the future?
No, not yet.
Is there any?
I want more.
Is there any dream scenario you'd like to do? Like,
oh yeah. So I actually applied
BTS's house. Come to my front door.
I actually want to do their covers with Hanji and my art.
Their album covers?
Yeah. Like, that would be cool.
Why not?
Have you reached
Yeah,
out?
why not? Like, yeah, I can reach out, I guess.
Have you reached
No,
out?
I haven't.
What are you waiting for? Eh?
I got a guy.
Well, wait. Yeah. Wait till they hear this. Eh? I'm sure they listen to us. No.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
That's how they keep themselves busy.
Well,
during
that's the old you don't try, you never know. I mean,
You
I-
feel-
there's no reason why not
Like,
to.
since I studied art, so I was doing the art at home and I wasn't sure that like whether people will like it. Cause to my eyes, they look good, but you don't know, right? Like, it might be just amazing to your eyes.
Sure.
So I was just doing it at home and then I was studying about Hanji. I didn't know much about Hanji either.
mulberry bush, rice paper.
Hey,
All right,
Jake,
I
plant
got
those
it.
trees. Fill in the pool with mulberry trees.
So I realized that because making the Hanji process is really hard work. Like, so a lot of young people don't want to learn because it's a hard work. And lots of old people, skilled people, they are dying now.
Yeah.
And Hanji, even Koreans consider Hanji as just old culture. They don't use Hanji. And like, because long time ago, we didn't have any other paper or wallpaper. So we used wallpaper. Hanji as a wallpaper too. Like they used Hanji a ton. Now Hanji industry is like just going down. And the Japan was spreading their culture long time ago, right? So like all over the world, they know rice paper. So they used rice paper to restore all the like culture, like sculptures or something like that in Europe. But a few years ago, they discovered Hanji can last more than 1,000 years. So silk can last 500
Can I
years.
get a pair of underwear? Mine don't last more than 3 weeks, man.
They actually make Hanji like clothing.
Really?
And they make Hanji leather too now.
No way.
Yeah, so they can expand to everything.
No way.
They used to so in Europe, Louvre, the museum and all that, like Italy, and they used Japanese paper. But now, a few years ago, they discovered Hanji is a better quality and it can last longer.
Yeah.
So they switched to Hanji. So they use Hanji for restoring.
There it is. Hanji condoms last longer.
All natural.
So like I learned all this information and I'm like, okay, I can't just let this Hanji industry go down. I gotta do something about it.
Sure.
So like I felt the responsibility to spread this paper. So how do I do it? So I just applied for the artwork and everything, and I just went out there to see how people would even like. My purpose was like I want to introduce Hanji. I want people to know about it. So like people would come and I explain about Hanji, and they are like, oh, it can last 1,000 years? Like, they are all blown away by
Let me
it.
check that. That's the Japanese one. Come on.
Was there any
fact checks?
Did you ever worry about how your art would be received if no one liked it? Like, I mean, I think if any creator before showing your stuff the first time, were you worried at all? Do you have any
I
apprehensions?
wasn't really worried because I wasn't expecting much.
That's a good.
But
That's a good approach.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
it's a good
like,
approach. Yeah.
when you say you want to spread the Hanji, but you got to create for you. If you're not making it what you want, if you're creating for someone else, then it's not. That's when it gets. I don't like it anymore. You're just making it for. I want this.
Oh, sure, but if you can be making for you and go out and people look and I mean, I think
I
everyone
agree.
still worries.
But at least if you're making it for you, you think, hey, I like it, I did it, it's okay for me. If you don't like it, that's fine. You got a different taste.
I enjoy it.
But
This
if you're
is
making
what
it for
I like.
somebody else,
Sure,
you're
yeah,
like, I don't really like that. Oh, that's the best ever. I'm like, well, I think it's terrible, but okay, here you go.
Yeah.
It kind of loses the.
That's what a lot of
the
artists.
reason.
Yeah. So I brought Hanji to artwork, and then I sold like most of the pieces that I created for a year and a half since the beginning, and I was blown away by it. Like
Time to up the production there.
people love my art. Like I wasn't expecting to sell even a few pieces, and like let alone most.
We're
of
eating
them.
Hanu tonight, H.
I'm going to St. Albert to open the mulberry farm. I'll sell the berries and the bark.
Bark and berries.
There you go.
BBs. You got it.
Since then, I keep making more, and like I'm selling, and
But
like,
how has this affected the Hanji production in Korea?
so like the more people know about Hanji, people will realize like, oh, maybe I can use Hanji as their collage in their collage, or like, and like. The more people know about Hanji itself, it is important.
Would you
I
consider being like a distributor or something in Western Canada?
I am.
You are?
I'm gonna. So like I already went to Jeonju. It's the Hanji town, and I bought some, and I said like I'm so.
But then you present it to school boards and whatever and say, hey, Korean Culture Week or whatever, maybe buy some of this.
So I have a solo exhibition going in Edmonton now, and they sell all the art supplies too. So I was talking, I had the artist talk with the director, and I said like, I want people to know about Hanji, and that's my goal. And she's like, I can be this
Distributor.
So I said, okay.
You better tell AJ to quit his job and start running your Instagram page.
And your YouTube channel too.
He doesn't know Instagram.
Puncturing the armor there, that stuff's wild. You got to get it out there.
But too, I mean just when we said distributing, you could open a YouTube channel that shows people how to do it and explain about it, and Korean Culture Week in Canada, sweet.
And
Hanji hacks.
I have an exhibition coming.
Fix everything in your house like red green. That old they fix everything with duct tape. Just fix everything with Hanji.
So I have an exhibition coming from like the Art Gallery of St. Albert, and the
Mogi?
September is the culture days. So they asked me to do the workshop. So to show how to make Hanji art, and awesome. Like people can actually make their art. So I'm bringing more Hanji for that too.
How do you find the business aspect of it, not having maybe had any training or formal education in business?
I just go for it. Because I don't know anything about it.
But I mean, even marketing strategies or creating your channel or making a YouTube channel or
I just
reaching out in the community and stuff. Do you have any mentors? Are you part of any business groups or Chamber of Commerce or?
No, I'm not in any of the groups or any communities. But like because I participate in art walks and
you meet lots of people.
I meet lots of artists, and even like when I was at art walk, some people walk by and they love my art and I own this gallery. Do you want to have a solo exhibition? Like yes, yes, please.
No, I'm pretty busy. Can you sign the wait list here? I might get to you in 6 months.
How does the solo exhibition work? Is there any? They pay you pay them?
No,
or
like if I sell my art, they take like
percentage.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's
so cool. Does the business part of it? Is that like the Himdura Kichana part? Like I prefer someone else did that. I just want to make my art, talk to people, sell it, because I think a lot of people like Kim Chang-un, Chang-ha Kim.
Kim Chang-ha. His books.
He loves to make art, but he just doesn't have the skills to get rid of it. And he's connected through enough exhibitions and whatever that now he can sell something. But we said like, dude, we go to his
his storage room,
his art hall, and he's got like
1,000
pieces of art, incredible art. Like, what are you saving it for? Like, this is one match away from the whole thing burning down. Like, what are you waiting for? So I have a website. We looked at his website from like 1972. And they're like, maybe we should help this guy. Like, people would buy this stuff's incredible. People would buy it. And I think that's like, he's got the talent to be the artist, but he's got no concept of business. And he would need someone else to do that. And I think that's just kichana to him. He likes making art. And I always wonder, like, if you have that, you need a partner or your son or daughter or someone to be the one pushing social media and everything and doing all that kichana stuff.
So I mean, that begs the question, where do most of your sales come from? Is it your art walks and stuff like that? So person to person?
When I go and set up my booth and people come. And
you have a chance to talk to them and explain to them. Sure.
What would be the ideal goal for a year? How many art shows, art walks, art exhibitions?
I don't really have a goal yet because I'm still like, I started art 2.5 years ago. Like I'm still very young as an artist.
Sure.
So like, I don't know where I am going because it is going well, but I don't know where to expand. Like I don't really have a like set goal. I just want to spread Hanji, people to know about Hanji, and
So it sounds like you need a manager.
I do.
Right? Would you say someone
really
that can say, "Okay, you know this, but listen, I can help you get to 20 different regions, markets, this, that. We go to a show in Saskatchewan, go to BC, whatever." I mean, if you don't have the time to put in there, your focus and stuff is all on your art. You need someone to help, kind of guide the ship.
But as a beginner artist, like, you can't really afford to hire somebody, right? Like, that's the thing.
And that's the predicament. Like, same with this thing. Like, we can't really pay some. We don't even pay ourselves anything. We can't really pay somebody, but you kind of need some assistance or help in the areas that you're weak at. How do we do it? Do we learn more? Do we have enough time to learn more? We get families and stuff. How do you... And that's kind of the predicament.
Do you want to blow it up and be a huge artist? Is that just spreading the word of Hanji?
The whole world loves Hanji, but you got an event every third night, or
Not about that way, but yeah.
or only Alberta loves Hanji, and you have an event every 6 months.
The bigger, the better.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go for it, man. Go for
Dream big.
But some people have no interest in that, right? Like they're like, no, I'll just do my stuff. Whoever wants it, fine. But I have no intention on flying all over the world. I just want to stay and live my life and do my thing.
If I become that famous, I can spread Hanji more.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's my purpose. Yeah. And because I have messages in my art, like I want people, because my life changed completely from the messages. Yeah. Right? So I think
keep
people
it going.
need that kind of messages too. So like,
good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't think there would be a more justified reason to put someone else on a cover than your story. If they ran a contest, why should I use your work for my cover? Can't be stories better than this one, is there? I mean, if they were doing a challenge or something, I mean, I think you'd be in definitely at the very top. I don't know what else people are going to come up with. I'm sure there's inspiring stories, but man, you kind of cover A to Z, and you've interwoven all of their stuff into your stuff, and yours is just yours, but it has so many aspects of what they've kind of brought to the table. Okay, we gotta call those guys. Put on the list.
Yeah.
See me in tomorrow.
We're close with G-Man.
Jimin.
Isn't he BTS?
Jimin?
No.
G-Man.
Jimin.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Jimin.
What the hell? What is name change?
No, we call him G-Man.
Okay.
Because we're on because we're that close.
Okay. Call him.
Yeah. Have you noticed any difference in the way the Hanji's received in Canada and in Korea? Like, if you came and tried to sell your art in Korea, do you think it would be embraced as well as it is in Canada?
Yeah.
Is it ubiquitous here? Is it kind of more people are doing it, and it's the scarcity in Canada that
I don't know. The reason I'm doing okay, I'm doing good
You're from
in
St. Albert.
Canada is like
you said Prince Albert wrong.
in Canada is because like it's just unique. They've never seen anything like this before. Yeah. But in Korea, if I say like, oh, I'm an Hanji artist, people think okay. Old like lots of people make Hanji dolls, like old Korean traditional things. So they don't assume that I'm ripping Hanji to make pieces with messages.
Sure.
But that's the uniqueness, and that's how you have to connect. Is through mine has a meaning.
The uniqueness opens the
Once
door.
you understand the meaning and how it's changed, and sharing your story. I mean, it can't be easy, but now obviously you have more confidence doing it. But that's a huge mountain for people to cross, to be able to speak publicly about stories like that. I mean, it's you've come a long way and probably inspired a whole ton of people as well. Sure. And that's the message has to get out. Not just I'm a Hanji artist. Well, there's lots of those. But in the same way, do you know her story? That's why her Hanji.
In the same way, BTS helped you. You're carrying the flame for the next guy. Man.
Let's pay it forward.
I still sometimes can't believe that my life has changed like this. Like I was depressed. I was living the sad life before. I wasn't that bad, but I was sad, and I didn't know.
Hole.
Yeah, like I didn't know how to get out of it, and now I'm out of it. I'm not just out of it. I'm soaring. I feel like I
exploded.
And like I love telling my stories to other people because they do tell me like your story is inspiring.
Yeah,
like
sure.
You feel like I can do it too. Like because I didn't know, I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think I could do it. And once I just started, I'm like, oh, I guess I can do it. And now I have big dreams, and like now I'm so passionate about something.
Life's exciting.
Yeah. Like,
well, listen, I'm glad that you can tell it because we went to the funeral and all the guys were playing cards and gambling and it wasn't Ochanons. And we were like, oh my God, like what the hell is going on here? How is this even fathomable? but that you guys as a family have sorted it out and dealt with it, or at least you have. I don't know about your sister, and mom's in a tough spot, but that you've been able to get out. Because I remember going there and going, well, this is insane. Like, this must be like an extra knife in the heart for the family. Like,
But
this is
they don't know. But because we didn't tell anybody that it was suicide, right?
Yeah, but I mean, for you guys to sit there and go like, this is what led to my dad's death. Like, why are these guys? I felt like going and grabbing them and kicking them out. Like, how disrespectful can you be? But yeah, they don't know. But so anyways, I'm just glad. Like, when you posted it, I was like, wow, that takes a lot of courage to put all that out there. And I mean, you spared some details, but you gave a basic summary of the whole story. And I was like, wow, that's great that you can come to terms with that and that you can talk about it, because I was, I don't know, just befuddled there watching that and going, something's not right here. But to know that you've dealt with it and handled it so well is just amazing. And it is inspiring, because, man, I can't imagine going through that shit. And you're a woman, but if I knew that and those guys were sitting there, I would want to go and kill those guys.
Sure.
And I mean, it's an awesome story.
I think this storyline is played out in lots of people's lives. And for anyone listening who is in that deep depression, you never know when you come out how it's going to affect someone else in the future. So that's a good thing.
Any stories of best customers, or maybe someone that inspired you when they got your art or they understood yours, or worst customers, or any other experiences, or some of your shows, or did someone ever drop a piece and break it? Or well, that's what you wonder. We got kids, come on, we go to those things and you're like, don't touch that. And then you see the guy in the news, like, right, he touched a sculpture at the Louvre or something. It's like his dad's in for 500,000. You're like, no way.
No, the two best ones, they were Korean kids, weren't they? They went up.
Yeah, I want to say.
And drew on someone's picture or something like that.
Oh my God! There was a $500,000.
This isn't a Yuchi one? What do you mean?
There's a $500,000 piece of art on the wall, and there was a paintbrush, and they just picked it up and drew some circles on it. Like, oh, we thought it was like an interactive piece. Like, dude, that was $500,000. You just there's a security guard, I think in Russia too, who went up and just drew like googly eyes on a random paper, and they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, I just wasn't thinking. I don't know. They're like, dude, that was like a $50,000 piece. You idiot. Oh, man. Too funny. But
any good stories or mishaps or anything at your events?
The first art, I wasn't prepared, because that was my first one.
Sure.
And that day, it was so windy. So
this sounds like a WeHope event.
I set up the tent, and like every time wind blew, my pieces would just fall on the ground, and I was like,
this is mulberry and grass.
so some of the canvases wreck because it just ripped. It ripped. So like
discount. 50%?
No.
50% Halil?
No, dude.
So
you fix it with Hanji.
Yeah, I Googled like how to fix canvas, ripped canvas, and they said like you can use this fabric and then glue it or whatever. And then I thought like, no, I can use Hanji.
Sure.
And then I glued Hanji front and back, and it looks perfect. Like great. Like now I know how to fix.
Nice.
And I have a collector. She got like 3 pieces of mine. And this was a funny story. She told me she's a nurse, and she told me one of her patient, she woke up from her like really serious surgery, and then the first thing she said was like,
give me some carrot by Juju.
No. She said like, I need to watch that K-drama that I was watching. I want to know what happened next. And I thought like, wow, that is very funny. Like,
nice.
This lady is so into K-drama. Like, wow. Like, I never thought.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
Would that be like us watching Astro Boy? I thought Astro Boy was American or Canadian, and then I found out it was Japanese. Atom. Isn't he called Atom?
Yeah, Atom in Korean.
Oh, I've seen him on lunchboxes. I've never seen it before though.
Oh, that every so you're a little younger than us. You're a little younger than us.
Yeah.
I played a video game.
No, but like I don't know what you guys saw, but like every kid in Canada watched Astro Boy and Teddy
really?
Ruxpin. Sure, that was the shows.
We did too, yeah.
Every morning. But I would never think that... I never was led to believe that was Japanese, and I didn't even know until I went to Japan. I was like, I told them, you guys have Astro Boy too? And like, this is our Astro Boy. What do you mean?
Ready? We're going to blow Nate's mind. So is Sailor Moon. I know you're a big Sailor Moon fan.
There's a few that you'll be shocked when you get there.
Yeah.
And that you didn't know. But I wonder if these K-dramas, like... But then people know they're full Korean dramas. So, more But Astro Boy was a shock to me 30 years later when I went to Japan. Any guests that stick out that just say, what is this? This is, someone that comes and dents your confidence. You're like, ooh, that hurts. Okay, bring the next guy by, please.
No, not really. No. Like a lot of people just come into my booth because they think it's just abstract. They don't know it has meanings. And when I say like, no, these are actually Korean letters and it has meanings, and then most people are impressed by it.
Sure, yeah.
Awesome.
Man, I'm even knowing what it says, and it's impressive to me. And we've lived here forever.
The reason I do bring up my dad's suicide is the more I realize, like the longer it goes, I realize that like Koreans need to talk about it. Like this is a big issue. Korea has the highest suicide rate in the world, right? But nobody talks about it, and it is the problem. It is the base of the problem, and because I read this somewhere, like it might be wrong or something, but like if one person commits suicide, five people gets affected, but like seriously, and 30 people are thinking about suicide.
Yeah. Sure.
But how many times do you hear like some celebrities commit suicide, like some politicians?
Monthly.
Like
what we called the one for the Itaewon. You remember all the kids? The kids died there.
Yeah.
And that we said the day after, like, oh, wait till it hits the police officer, and he did it 2 weeks later. You did it 2 weeks later, man.
So like, and the thing is like, Koreans believe that like if you are cornered, the answer is just suicide.
Abort. Yeah.
Right? There's no other option. They just think because they've seen so many people commit suicide.
Yeah.
And because suicide, that word suicide had nothing to do with me before, and now it's the closest word. Like
you're in the five that it affected.
I'm so affected by it. So every time I hear the word, and like if I hear like, oh, somebody's daughter committed suicide, like my heart just drops, because I know how what the family is going through with that. So
I haven't even been through that, but just seeing the kids every year and around Sunung time or after Sunung time, and we, like, not joke, but we used to make light of it, calling it suicide season, watch for falling people. But it was just unfathomable that a country could watch this many young people do it and not do anything.
I know.
And that the parents are partially to blame as perpetrators because they keep putting all this damn pressure on their kids and then say, oh, it's so sad, so sad. Then let your kids just relax and be free of the freaking hagwon. But that there was jokes of watch for falling people and stuff because it was serious. And I just, now having kids, like my emotions are completely different having kids and without, and I'm way more sensitive to these things, but I just can't imagine. If it was something out of your control, or, your kids, we talked on the last one, went to a party, got into some opioids or something by accident. Hey, I taught them the best I could. I gave them all the tools. Shit happens sometimes. But to think that me putting pressure on for A+s, 99s, only Seoul Yonsei Korea.
But parents who are doing that think that they're doing their kids right by doing that.
But if they sat down with the counselor and gave their head a shake and said, look at the results, look at the highest suicide, look at, I think people would step back, and they have. Now they have. Now a lot of parents are stepping back a little bit. Not as much, but they are. The competition has dropped significantly. A lot of that is because people just stopped having kids. And now it's easier to get into universities. It's easier to get it because there's no more the competition's gone compared to when you went to school. So, yeah, it crushes me to hear that and to see those stories. All of it. And you don't even see or read 90% of them. We only see a fraction of them. But then when they put the numbers up at the end of the year and you go, it still hasn't gone down? Come on, why can't we do something about this?
So
that's why I want to do something about it. I don't know what I can do.
Get the ball rolling. Yeah.
The thing is, like, at least I can talk about it on my Instagram.
You're doing it. You're doing it now.
I am doing it
now.
So I wrote about my dad and suicide and like a hashtag like suicide.
You had a good
blah,
one,
blah,
yeah.
blah. And then like this guy, he probably found me through that suicide hashtag or whatever, and then he like clicked liked, and then I started. We followed each other, and he's a great writer. He's an amazing writer, but his posting was about like he's addicted to gambling. So he gets threatened by these like loan
sharks.
Yeah, they are just threatening him every single day, and he keeps thinking about just committing suicide all the time because he's cornered, right? Yeah. So he's divorced, and like he has nothing left, and like all he has is debt, and like a lot of times like he thinks about just like hanging himself. And when I was reading his like amazing writing talking about suicide, I was like, no, I gotta save this guy. Like I can't let this guy go because his family would go through what I went through. So I left the comment on his thing, and then we were like following each other, and a few days later he messaged me and he said like, today I was so close to commit suicide, but because of you, I changed my mind, and now I'm going to live my life with hope. Like I'm not going to think about suicide. And he called me like, you are my angel.
Sweet.
Like, and I'm like, who am I?
Yeah.
Like I'm nobody, but like I can have that impact on somebody, and like I can save somebody's life. Like maybe it's a good thing that I started writing about it. Like I at least saved one person. Like it doesn't matter. Like whether
that's when everything's nothing else matters. I mean, the Prada, the Gucci, the BMW, it's all horseshit. It's just all smoke and mirrors. This is what matters. And if you can save someone's life, I mean, what?
Connection with people, connection with community, feeling like you belong somewhere, having someone to talk to.
Yeah.
The important things.
Yeah. So like I still can't believe like I became that person.
Sure.
That can change somebody's life. Like it is very overwhelming, but I'm so happy that I'm doing this.
Sure.
And that comes from what? Following your passion. Just finding something that you enjoy doing. Whatever the hell. That's what I tell Gina and Lena. I said, I don't care what it is. You got to do something with all your heart. And we're going to keep putting you in different sports and different things until you find something. But you got to do something. You can't do nothing. It doesn't matter what it is. Find something and do it. And for me, it was hockey. And no, for you, martial arts or whatever. But you got to find it. And I think that's what school's for and teachers should be doing, is to find your passion. And then follow it. Doesn't matter the money. Somebody said, if you want to be two of them. The first one is, if you could quit your job and do anything you wanted with your life, what would you do?
Alan Watts.
Nobody picks their job.
Of course.
Nobody. I'd be an artist. I'd be a writer. Why don't you do that? Can't make money in it. But if you're good enough at it and you follow it and you're passionate about it, you can make money at it. And you might be a photography instructor or teacher or run online courses, or there's many ways it can, you can manipulate it to become an income generator. But that's just it. You gotta find your passion.
Oh man.
Now I know.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, could you? My biggest thing against suicide is that like you never know. Like if you push the end button, you never know what's going to happen after. Just, I mean, even in your deepest, darkest depression, like maybe another day, you never know what's going to happen. You might, well, whatever. The same with you. You could never imagine you're going to be making art, sending a message to a random guy and helping him. Right?
Would you ever consider motivational speaking?
One day, yeah, I want to. Like if
no, you say you don't know what to do, but yeah, I mean, Head-On would say, come and talk at my school, come talk to my kids, or have a. I think it would be easy to get into the Gyeongsang and speak at schools.
When I like watch TED Talks, and I'm like, I can tell my story.
Yeah, sure.
Like when when like I watched.
You'd be good for it. Yeah, you'd be awesome for a TED Talk. you have a good enough story to capture people at a TED Talk. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and do it. Find the TEDx Edmonton or whatever. Find the small ones first and try it. Yeah. But
he's applying right now for a manager role.
I feel like I'd be your manager. You've got such an awesome story, and I think there's so much potential. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So much potential. I mean, I think you could go on whatever, the school circuit and talk at 20 different schools in 20 days.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like because I studied something, now I have so many things to talk about. Like before I found art, I felt like I didn't really have my identity. Like I was just AJ's wife. I was not and was mom. I wasn't like Juju, like, okay, what does she do, right? That. But now I'm an artist, Hanji artist, Juju, Eunju Park. And I am spreading positive messages. I'm spreading my culture. Yeah. I want to like change how Koreans think suicide. And like I have passion, like I have many passions.
Yeah.
Like, right? So like, just, it all started with just starting to look for what something I actually like.
And the other one that I go back to the schools is, I've said lots, we're going to Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, whatever. And people, the doctor yet today, he's like, why? And I was like, why not? And the first thing is apprehension and oh my God, and it's dangerous. But I mean, who would do with it? Who would willingly put their family in that day? Nobody. And I know these guys will joke and stuff, but it's trying to find that inspiration because it lacks. And two different points on it. The study that just came out in the States said if you're under 1 hour a day on your phone, no problem, or on screens under 1 hour. 3 to 5 hours increases suicidal ideologies and thoughts by 30%, and over 5 hours they increase by like 60%. And you know what the average amount of time on is a phone from 15 to 25-year-olds?
7 hours.
It's like 7 or 8 hours.
Oh, God.
Which means that all these people are having these thoughts a lot more than we ever did growing up. I mean, I think every young kid has it at some point, whether you're disappointed your parents or pissed them or whatever. But to increase by that much, like that is scary as hell. And the next one is, to give them that inspiration and motivation, find something. I don't care what they want to be. If it's a guide or a translator or an activist or working with disadvantaged youth or whatever, I want to give them opportunities to get inspired. And by going to the schools, you're a connection. You're a person. It's not just frickin' Instagram. This is my inspiration. No, you can see you can touch you're there. I can ask you a question. And that, I think we've lost that. We had the We Hope Youth Launch or whatever, and we had one of our youth leaders is now Ewha Women's University, and she came back and talked to the kids, and I said, you can say program director, president, whatever. The kids are going, She goes up there, she goes, hey, I'm your unnie. I'm just like you guys. And the kids go, oh, she's kind of like us. And it's an instant connection because, you can put the experts on, they can't connect to it. You got to find a different way to get your message through. And she's the way to do that. What are the questions? Guys, this is your chance. She's like you 3 years ago. Ask her everything. But, I mean, who's going to ask us, right? Like, whether it's intimidating or embarrassing or whatever, but that's the thing. Like, if you're there, you're an actual connection. Not a virtual connection, not an Instagram, not a link, not a whatever. And I think we need that.
I think too, finding your passion, or you just said starting something. I think what I found here, a lot of people don't have that. The 40-year-old demographic of women, they don't have that. Like, I wake up with a passion, other than being Nugu Nugu's mom or Nugu Nugu's husband, and I think that's a powerful message also to get out, start doing something or trying something or find your way, man. Yeah. Keep looking.
The initial thought is, I have to work hard. It's so stressful. No. If you love it, do it when you, like you say, do it when you want. You want to do 10 hours today and none for 2 weeks? Fine. Do it when you want.
Sure.
But if you really love it, you'll find you're doing it more than you probably thought.
You'll find time.
Yeah,
like,
you make time.
Try. Yeah, like
for sure. You put the phone down for 7. You got an extra 7 hours. Put your phone down. You got 7 hours today. Let's start tomorrow.
Exactly.
Good times. Juge, number 100 is special. A special one for me. That's awesome.
Yeah,
2 years ago, we said like next time she comes back, we're gonna get her on here, and this is more above and beyond what I expected. Thank you so much. That's awesome, man. Really nice. Thank you for coming.
Good luck and all the best moving forward. I said I think you should also be in Korea and be a presence in Korea, but I know there's a lot on your plate and lots going on, but I'm excited to see what the future brings.
Yeah.
I'm excited too.
I love the message. I love the connection. And like you say, you have passion in so many areas now. That's what life's for. That's living, not existing. It's living. And I admire you for that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Guys, we'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.